Mary Jane is sweet 16. No, she's, 20. Or is it 14? Well, it really doesn't matter how old she is, for her story could be the same whether she's in junior high, high school, or college. Let's just say Mary Jane is a schoolgirl, and that she has a boyfriend whom she considers handsome. Mary Jane and her friend are happy with their lives, and they show it by smiling and laughing a lot. But there is one problem that they don't know about. Mary Jane has syphilis. How to Get Syphilis by Don Schlote and G. Warren Schlote, Jr. Take a closer look at Mary Jane. She looks healthy and alert, clear eyes, nice complexion. Yet this young woman has a venereal disease called syphilis. Her body is host to microorganisms which look and act like flexible corkscrews. Their name? Treponema pallidum. You see two of them here, photographed live. Treponema pallidum belongs to the family of spirochetes which occupy the twilight zone between true bacteria, one-celled plants, and protozoa, one-celled animals. These are simulated Treponema pallidum, showing an elastic cylindrical body twisted into a dozen or so regular sharp spirals. It is very long as microbes go, but unbelievably thin. The driving force, the motor of Treponema pallidum, is a turning of the screw. The movements are slight and slow and unhurried. Majestically, they turn and twirl their way along. Also, there may be bending and buckling, and accordion-like compression and expansion of their coils and loops. The biology student can view all of this, and it is one of the best shows microscopy has to offer. And yet, Mary Jane is not aware she has Treponema pallidum cruising throughout her body. She is unaware she has syphilis. As she plays her role in campus life, from eating in the cafeteria to drinking from water fountains and using school toilet facilities, as she does these things, she does not pass along her syphilis to others. Treponema pallidum is a fragile and sensitive microbe and is destroyed in seconds by soap and water. It is also destroyed by sunlight, heat, air, dehydration, and the usual antiseptics. In other words, Mary Jane cannot pass along her syphilis just by holding hands. She can only infect when her mucous membrane comes in contact with the mucous membrane of her friend. This happens when she kisses and when she has sexual intercourse. If she possesses a syphilitic sore, say, on her vaginal wall, a treponema or two can exit from the infection and come in contact with the mucous membrane of her partner. Sexual intercourse provides made-to-order physical and chemical conditions in which treponemas swim about. Mucous membrane is very thin, and every opening of the body is lined with mucosa. The treponemas easily corkscrew their way through the thin wall of mucous membrane and through the wall of a blood vessel. Now they are into the bloodstream and will be carried throughout the body. At the same time, they start to multiply by division. And so, 24 hours after contact, the treponemas have invaded Mary Jane's boyfriend, and serious trouble is in the making. But the victim does not feel or see a thing and continues in his regular activities. And he is not going to feel or see anything throughout the so-called primary incubation period. This period varies, but on the average lasts about 3 weeks. At the end of incubation, a chancre appears. The chancre is the first sign of infection. It is a single, painless sore teeming with Treponema pallidum. It may be small as a pinhead or larger than an aspirin, and develops at the site where the germ entered the body. With the male, this usually means the front part of the urethra, the tube through which urine passes out the penis. The chancre should be obvious, yet if it is as small as a pinhead, it can and often does go unnoticed. In the female, the chancre may be hidden within the vagina and never be noticed. Most victims pass through primary syphilis without knowing they are infected. Neither Mary Jane nor her boyfriend recognize their symptoms. In its early stages, Treponema pallidum can be wiped out and no damage will have been done. The treatment is penicillin, administered into the buttock. But only a physician can detect and treat syphilis, and penicillin taken orally is ineffective. Anyone the least bit suspicious of having contact with a person infected with syphilis should immediately be examined by a physician. The problem is, how do you know to be suspicious? What would make you think your partner has syphilis? Your partner may be completely unaware he or she is infected, or worse, may know it and keep it a secret. Some people get a perverse thrill out of purposely infecting others. You cannot rely on suspicion of your partner or hope that your partner will tell you. So don't gamble. Every sexually active single person should be examined for venereal disease every 6 months. Perhaps the easiest way to do this is through the health center of your town or city. The health center is listed in the telephone book, or you can ask information. Call and ask what days examinations are given. The tests will probably be free, and the results are confidential. Does this really mean no one will know? Yes. Your parents will not know. Your teachers will not know. Your friends will not know. Some people prefer to go to a health center in a neighboring town or in a large city if they live in a small town. This is fine, too. Any health center of any city will test you and, if you need it, treat you. Treated during the primary state, syphilis can be cured 999 times out of 1,000. But what happens if Mary Jane's boyfriend does not get treated for his syphilis? The chancre will disappear. However, the Treponema pallidum have not disappeared. They continue to multiply and corkscrew their way throughout his bloodstream. The disease spreads deeper into his body. The secondary state of syphilis is like an evil genie being released from a bottle. This phase begins 2 to 6 months after the first chancre and announces itself with skin rashes over all or part of the body. Believe it or not, most victims are unconcerned, thinking they have measles or a heat rash. Irregular shaped patches may appear on the mucous membranes of the mouth, throat, sex organs, or rectum. And sometimes pain in the shin bone may develop. It can be fleeting or a deep, dull ache. Fever and headache may also occur, but these symptoms are mild, seemingly treatable with aspirin, and almost always overlooked. The victim continues his normal activities, thinking he has almost anything except syphilis. Soon the symptoms disappear without treatment, and the secondary incubation period is concluded. At this point, roughly 4 to 5 months after the initial infection, penicillin treatment is still very effective. But if not treated, the disease enters a third stage and can cause insanity, paralysis, heart disease, blindness, and death. Syphilis is an insidious disease, and it can affect an unborn child more seriously than it affects the mother. Whether you are male or female, black, white, brown, or yellow, Protestant, Catholic, or Jew, if you are sexually active, you owe it to your partner and yourself to do something to prevent syphilis. One thing which will do no good is the pill. Its purpose is to prevent pregnancy. It has no effect on the corkscrewing gyrations of Treponema pallidum. The prophylactic, also known as condom, skin, rubber, and by other names, can help reduce the risk of syphilis, but no one can guarantee it as foolproof. It must be utilized before the sex organs of the male and female come in contact with each other. In other words, at the very start of any sexual activity. And at the conclusion, the male and female organs should be washed with warm water and soap. Remember, Treponema pallidum is fragile and dies in seconds when exposed to soap and water. If a prophylactic is not available, some degree of protection may be obtained by the female douching and the male urinating. Often these practices will eliminate any Treponema pallidum from the body, but don't count on it. If the health center finds you have syphilis, they will ask you to identify your sex contacts. Tell them they are skilled at tracking down your partners without revealing their source of information, and they may be able to prevent the spread of your syphilis. In one study, a 15-year-old girl passed the disease on to her baby and boyfriend, who in turn passed it on to 3 other girls, who in turn passed it on to 7 boys. All told, 23 cases were traced to the first girl. Mary Jane was in this chain. When the health center representative found her and said she might be infected with syphilis, she could not believe it. Her boyfriend had moved on, and the health center still seeks him. In the meantime, he passes along his syphilis. Mary Jane agreed to have a test made with a few drops of her blood. The test was positive. She did, in fact, have syphilis. She was injected with penicillin and cured. She is not immune. She can again contract syphilis as easily as she did the first time. But for now, she is cured.